welcome to another episode of Regional Italian Cuisine. My name is Caterina Borsato, and on this program we're going to be featuring birds, primarily pigeons. And of course, for our viewers at home, I guess there are two lines of thought when we think about pigeons. Of course, pigeons, which incorporate the dove, which is the international sign of peace and beauty. And of course, then you think about the feral pigeons that are out there nibbling in garbage in the streets. But the pigeons that we refer to in restaurant land or supermarket land, of course, a squab. Now, the word squab has its origins, we believe, in Scandinavia. The word itself actually meaning loose, fatty flesh. When we refer to squab, of course, we refer to the bird and its meat. And usually, the birds are always killed under 1 month of age, and that's why when they're still known as squab. I would like to remind our viewers that there may be some footage following that may offend, so please be aware, but of course we are within the guidelines, and any footage we are showing you has been approved by animal welfare. Yeah, it's an amazing story, and we just feel that it's fitting to show you from A to Z, and how it gets from the processing plant to our supermarket shelves. Now, it starts when they start the process. They normally take the birds into the processing plant of an evening, so that they can have a 12-hour break from feeding, so that the guts is completely clear. And most of the processing is done in the early hours of the morning. And the point of that is so that there is very little risk of contamination. From there, they are hung up, they're strung up, and then they go through these stun baths. Very humane, and once again approved by animal welfare. It's about a 5-second process, and from there they are immediately bled. They are then washed and dried, and then put into these huge baths where all the feathers are removed. Now, some industry does do it by hand. Of course, there is always an added cost to that, but usually it's done by a big processing machine. From there, the innards are removed by hand, and then a vacuum gun finishes off the job and removes any excess liver or innard. From there, they're then placed into chillers, which are normally about under 1 degree Celsius. And then from there, they're weighed, they're packed, and then off they go. So it's a very interesting story. And tonight we have the pleasure of having two chefs, Scott Curatolo and Michelle Goldsmith, and they're going to show us how from a very simple braise of kitchen we can end up with quite a few exciting recipes, always done of course with the Italian theme. So let's go into the kitchen and let's just see how they use this beautiful product, the squab, which, let me tell you, for me in modern times does conjure up quite an exotic meal. All right, viewers, so we're in the kitchen, and I'd like to introduce you to the two chefs that will be making the 3 dishes tonight. Of course, Scott Curatolo. Did I say that right?
You did, yes.
But I call you Scotto.
Yes.
Scotto Curatolo. And of course, we have Michelle Goldsmith, who has become Michelina Goldsmith. Of course. Now, the thing is that with this pigeon tonight, or the squab, we're going to be making a sauce that's going to be used 3 different ways.
That's right, yes. We're using a ragu, a tomato-based ragu, and we're going to show you 3 different versions or 3 different ways of putting it out into meals.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to be doing a beautiful
little
ravioli.
Fried ravioli.
A bit funky.
Yeah, so just as a little starter, we'll be doing a chocolate ravioli.
Agnolotto. Can you roll those?
Agnolotto.
All right. And then the very classical
is a pigeon ragu risotto.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so just tell me how we get this process started, Scott.
So just starting off with the ingredients, some we've prepared earlier. We've got some finely diced onion.
Yes.
Finely diced fennel. Some 3 cloves of garlic, just sliced. 1 stick of cinnamon. 2 star anise. 3 bay leaves, and we'll just be using the zest of 1.5 lemons, really, no juice, and then just probably about 1.5 litres of peeled diced tomatoes.
Fantastic. That sounds quite exotic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
I would
quite nice.
say
It really
that
comes
squab is
together.
such an exotic sort of bird for me. So we've gone to the Orient for this, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. Okay, Scott, so let's start making the sauce. What's the process? First, you put the gas on.
Good. First we get the gas going, get it nice and hot.
Yeah.
Get some olive oil in there, a nice good finger of olive oil. Just you want to cover the base, make sure you get it all covered, like probably about a couple mil thick. Then you go the onions.
Onions.
You want to sweat them off and get them nice and caramelised so you get all the sweetness out of them. Garlic and the fennel. The diced fennel that we all did earlier.
That'd make a good apprentice, huh?
Greatest. Get it in. And you just get that caramelising off for a couple of minutes, just till it all goes nice and see-through and all the sweetness starts to come out.
So for our viewers at home, give us the time frame. Like, let's talk in technical terms, shall we?
Probably 3 to 4 minutes, I'd say. Like on a nice high heat, if you've got a good amount of nice olive oil in there, and all your vegetables and everything are cut the same size, then they're all going to cook at the same speed.
Okay.
3 to 4 minutes, they should start to brown up, and yeah, that's when you want to be putting the rest of your ingredients in, because that's when all the sweetness and everything is coming out of the vegetables themselves. So we're at the stage where the onions and the fennel and the garlic are all starting to brown off and go a nice golden colour. This is where we put the aromatics in, so your star anise, your bay leaves and your whole cinnamon stick. You can just throw them in, give them a bit of a stir around, and then we can, so the tomatoes. They're bubbling away nicely, so we can turn that down onto a low heat.
So this seems quite a simple sort of recipe.
It's very simple, but the all the flavours are actually quite pronounced in there. You can taste each one, and it's got because the pigeon's a nice sort of rich flavour as well. It's got a lovely rich.
Well, for our viewers at home who've not had pigeon or squab before, they often liken the flavour to like a wild berry flavour. You know, that's quite a gamey wild berry flavour.
Yeah. And now we can put the pigeons in.
Heads and all, huh?
Heads and all. It gives the whole flavour. Everything gives it just a bit more flavour.
Of course, it was one of the things I did fail to mention, that when they're at the processing plant, although they do remove the feet, they always actually leave the heads on.
Yeah. Okay, so now this dish is ready to just let sit there for another maybe 3 to 3.5 hours, just depending on the pigeons when they start to fall off the bone. What might be handy is just to top it up with a little bit of liquid every now and then, so it doesn't get too dry.
And what sort of liquid? Do we want stock or water?
Stock would be ideal, like a veggie stock or even a chicken stock. But if you don't have any of that, you can just put some water in, because you've got all the flavouring from everything else in there. So
beautiful.
Yeah, that's not going to be too much of a problem. But you do want to have it on low heat and make sure you stir it around fairly regularly, so that way that nothing sticks to the bottom.
Lovely, absolutely. Yeah.